The smell of burnt rubber and gasoline filled my nostrils as I blinked through the haze of smoke. The world was sideways. My head throbbed and my body ached like I had been thrown into a cement mixer. The sound of sirens blared in the distance, cutting through the ringing in my ears. "Emily!" I groaned, twisting my head to see my wife slumped over in the passenger seat, blood trickling from her forehead. Panic surged through me. The accident had come out of nowhere. 1 second, we were arguing, and the next, we were spinning through the intersection like a crushed soda can. "Sir, can you move?" A paramedic's voice pulled me back to reality. Somehow I managed to nod, though every muscle in my body protested. They pulled me from the wreckage, my limbs weak and shaking. As I was loaded into the ambulance, I reached for Emily's hand, but she barely reacted. She wasn't unconscious, just distracted. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice hoarse. She didn't answer. Her hand twitched towards something, her purse, which had been knocked open in the crash. My gaze followed her movement, and that's when I saw it. Her phone. Screen cracked but still functional. And on that screen, a message from a number I didn't recognize. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible. Love you." My stomach twisted, a slow, creeping sickness curling around my insides like a noose. My first thought was that my head injury was making me hallucinate. My second thought, no, my realization was that my wife, the woman I had trusted with everything, had just been caught. In the worst way possible. "Emily," I whispered, my throat dry. "What the hell is this?" Her eyes flickered to the phone for half a second, and her entire body went rigid. Shame? Fear? No. Annoyance. Like I had just interrupted her favorite TV show. "You shouldn't be looking at my phone, Nathan," she snapped, yanking it away as if that would erase what I'd seen. I tried to sit up, but the paramedic pushed me back down. "Take it easy, sir. You've been through a serious accident." "Not as serious as this." I was trapped. Strapped to a stretcher. My wife, the woman I had spent 8 years of my life with, was sitting next to me texting another man. I could barely move, and I was expected to just, what? Pretend I didn't see it? No. Not this time. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice barely above a growl. Emily sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes. "Nathan, really? Yeah? We were just in a car crash. Let's not make a scene." "A scene?" I wanted to laugh. My car was totaled. I was probably concussed. And she was worried about making a scene? "You're cheating on me," I said, my voice steadier now, colder. The words tasted like poison, but saying them out loud made it real. Emily didn't even flinch. Instead, she crossed her arms and exhaled through her nose like I had just accused her of stealing a parking spot. "Nathan, don't be dramatic," she muttered, avoiding my gaze. I could feel my pulse hammering in my skull, but it wasn't from the accident anymore. The paramedic glanced between us, clearly uncomfortable. "You need to calm down," she added. "The doctor said you might be in shock." Oh, I was in shock, all right. Just not from the accident. The ambulance doors swung open, and before I could say another word, we were being rushed into the hospital. Nurses swarmed us, and for a moment I lost sight of Emily. But that text, that damn text, was burned into my brain. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible. Love you." Whoever he was comfortable enough to type that. Which meant this wasn't new. And suddenly everything made sense. The late-night work meetings. The secretive whispers on the phone. The way she barely touched me anymore. I had ignored it. Convinced myself I was overthinking. But now? Now I had proof. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to ignore it. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Lying in the hospital bed, my body ached, but my mind burned hotter. The accident, the hospital, the pain, none of it mattered. Emily's betrayal was the real wreckage. I stared at the ceiling, trying to steady my breathing. "Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible. Love you." I could still see the text clear as day in my mind. Who the hell was he? A doctor walked in, clipboard in hand. "Mr. Walker, you suffered a mild concussion, a few bruised ribs, and some minor lacerations. You were very lucky." I almost laughed. Lucky? Yeah, real lucky. I survived a car crash just to find out my wife was sleeping with another man. Emily walked in behind him, looking way too put together for someone who had just survived a near-death experience. No tears, no concern, just that tight, annoyed look on her face, like she had better places to be. When the doctor left, I sat up, ignoring the dull ache in my ribs. "Tell me the truth, Emily." She scoffed, tossing her purse on the chair. "Nathan, I told you, now is not the time." Now is not the time? I swung my legs over the bed, gripping the sheets so I wouldn't do something I'd regret. I saw the text. "You can't lie your way out of this." Her jaw clenched. There. Right there. That tiny flash of guilt. But instead of apologizing, she smirked. Smirked. You really want to do this here? She asked, glancing at the nurse's station. In a hospital? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I don't give a damn where we are, Emily. Who is he? She folded her arms. It's none of your business. That sent my blood boiling. None of my, are you serious? You're my wife. If you're screwing another guy, that's very much my business. Her eyes flickered to the doorway and then she did the one thing I didn't expect. She started crying. Not real, gut-wrenching tears, performance tears. I can't believe you're accusing me of this, she sniffled. After everything we've been through. I almost second-guessed myself. Almost. But I wasn't stupid. Not anymore. Cut the crap, Emily. I saw the text with my own eyes. She wiped at her eyes dramatically, a full Broadway performance at this point. It's not what you think, Nathan. That was it. The classic cheater's line. Then what is it? I shot back. Because it sure as hell looks like you've been sleeping with someone else. Her gaze darted away. Silence. That was all the confirmation I needed. My chest tightened. I had hoped she'd deny it with something solid, some proof that I was wrong. But no. She couldn't even look me in the eye. How long? I asked, my voice cold. Emily hesitated. It's not serious. I let out a bitter laugh. Not serious? Well, damn. That makes me feel so much better. She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes. It was just a distraction, Nathan, she said, like she was explaining away a bad shopping habit. You've been so distant lately, always focused on work. I just needed attention. I felt like I had been punched. I worked my ass off for us. For our home. For our life together. And this was my reward? You needed attention, I repeated, the words tasting like acid. So instead of talking to me, you spread your legs for someone else? She gasped, putting a hand to her chest like I was the villain here. That's disgusting. You're disgusting, I shot back. For a moment, her mask slipped, and I saw the real Emily, the one who knew exactly what she had done. Then, just as quickly, she squared her shoulders. Nathan, I don't want to fight. I think we both need time to cool down. My hands clenched into fists. She was running. Running from the truth. Running from responsibility. But not this time. No, I said, standing up despite the pain. You don't get to walk away from this, Emily. Not after everything I've given you. She exhaled loudly. Fine. If you really want to know, his name is Jason. Jason. I didn't know a Jason. Didn't work with one. Didn't have a friend named Jason. Which meant she met him somewhere I wasn't. How long? I asked again. Emily looked at her nails. Her freaking nails. 6 months. Maybe longer. Something inside me snapped. 6 months. I had spent half a year being a fool. Thinking our marriage was fine. Thinking she loved me. She must have seen the change in my face because she sighed dramatically. Oh my God, Nathan. Don't look at me like that. It's not like I don't love you. I stared at her, my vision blurring with rage. You don't get to say that. She tilted her head. Why? Because I made a mistake. I took a deep breath, gripping the hospital bed to keep myself from breaking something. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. This is betrayal. Emily rolled her eyes again. God, you're so dramatic. I almost laughed. Dramatic? That's what she called this? Something inside me clicked. This wasn't just an affair. This was who she was. She didn't regret it. She didn't feel guilty. She was only mad she got caught. And that was the moment I knew our marriage was already dead. I stared at her, the woman I had once thought was my forever, and realized I didn't know her at all. 6 months. She had been sneaking around for half a damn year, and all she could say was, it's not serious. Emily sat across from me in the hospital room, arms folded, looking bored. Like this whole thing was just a minor inconvenience, not the complete destruction of our marriage. I clenched my fists so tightly my nails dug into my palms. Jason. The name felt like a bullet lodged in my brain. Where did you meet him? I finally asked, my voice eerily calm. Emily exhaled through her nose, tapping her fingers against her thigh. Why does it matter? My jaw tightened. Because I want to know how long you've been lying to me. Or do you not even remember? She gave a dramatic shrug. At a bar, I guess? It's not a big deal, Nathan. Not a big deal. I felt something inside me crack. You don't just trip and fall into someone else's bed, Emily. She smirked. Well, technically, I didn't even let her finish. Shut the hell up. My voice came out lower, rougher, and it surprised even me. Emily blinked, taken aback, but then her lips curled into a sneer. Don't talk to me like that. Oh? Why? Does that change the betrayal? She rolled her eyes. God, you sound like some dramatic movie character. I took a slow, deep breath because I was this close to putting my fist through the hospital wall. Why wasn't she apologizing? Why wasn't she even trying to lie her way out of it? Because she didn't care. That realization hit me harder than the car crash itself. I had wasted 8 years of my life on this woman. 8 years building a home, a future, a life. And all of it meant nothing to her. A nurse knocked on the door before stepping inside. "Mr. Walker, your paperwork is ready whenever you feel up to it." I nodded, barely looking at her. My mind was spinning. What now? Emily stretched, acting like she was just so over this conversation. "So, are we done here? I'd really love to go home and take a shower." I let out a hollow laugh. She really thought she was going to walk out of here like nothing happened. "Not to my home," I said. "You're not setting foot in my house ever again." Emily's expression snapped from smug to pissed. "Excuse me. You heard me." I stood up, wincing at the pain in my ribs but pushing through it. "You want to sleep with Jason? Go be with him." She scoffed. "Nathan, don't be ridiculous. You're upset, I get it. But you're not actually throwing me out." I turned to her, feeling the full weight of every ounce of betrayal settle in my bones. "Oh, I absolutely am." Her eyes narrowed. "You can't just kick me out of our house." "Our house?" I let out a bitter chuckle. "You mean the one I paid for? The one I worked my ass off for while you were off screwing some loser in cheap hotel rooms?" Emily stood up, crossing her arms. "Where am I supposed to go?" I shrugged. "Not my problem. Call Jason. You seem to love spending time with him." For the first time since this started, real panic flashed in her eyes. "Jason is married, Nathan." The words slammed into me like a second car crash. I blinked. "Come again?" She shifted on her feet, suddenly uncomfortable. "He's married." "He can't exactly." I barked out a laugh. A deep, guttural laugh that tasted like venom. "You're telling me you wrecked our marriage for a man who isn't even available?" I ran a hand down my face. "Jesus, Emily. You're pathetic." Her expression twisted into a snarl. "Don't act so high and mighty, Nathan. You weren't exactly husband of the year." I took a step closer, lowering my voice. "Tell me, Emily, what exactly did I do? Work too hard to give us a good life? Stay loyal to you like a fool? Was that my crime?" She huffed, looking away. I shook my head. "You're unbelievable." The nurse came back in with my discharge papers, looking between us awkwardly. "Everything okay?" I forced a smile. "Yeah. Just getting rid of some dead weight." Emily gasped dramatically. "How dare you?" I signed the papers without another glance at her. "I want you gone by the time I get home. If you're still there, I'm calling the cops." Emily's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. For once, she had nothing to say. I turned, walking toward the exit. Every step felt lighter. The weight of 8 years of lies was finally lifting. As I reached the door, Emily called after me. "Nathan." I paused but didn't turn. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice uncertain. I exhaled. "Anywhere but near you." Then I walked out, leaving her behind like she should have been all along. I walked out of that hospital and into the crisp night air, every breath feeling like a reset button on my life. The pain in my ribs throbbed with every step, but it was nothing compared to the ache in my chest. That was the kind of pain you don't recover from overnight. Emily. Jason. A married man. I didn't know what was more infuriating, the fact that she had cheated or that she'd done it with someone just as pathetic and gutless as she was. As soon as I stepped onto the sidewalk, I pulled out my phone. There was one person I needed to call. Tyler. My best friend since college. A guy who always had my back, whether it was bar fights, breakups, or bad decisions. If there was anyone who could keep me from doing something stupid tonight, it was him. The phone barely rang twice before he picked up. "Dude, what the hell? I just heard about the accident. Are you okay?" I exhaled sharply. "Physically? Yeah. Emotionally? Not even close." Tyler paused. "What happened?" I gritted my teeth. "Emily happened." A beat of silence. Then, "Oh, you've got to be *ing kidding me, **. I laughed, but it was hollow. "I wish. Tell me everything." So I did. Every ugly, gut-wrenching detail. The text. The smirk. Jason. The way she acted like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. By the time I was done, Tyler was breathing like he was about to put his fist through a wall. "That cheating, lying, dirty little." "I know," I muttered. "What are you gonna do?" I looked up at the dark sky. What was I gonna do? Go home? Sleep in the same bed where she had probably dreamed of him instead of me? Hell, no. First, I'm making sure that when she walks out of my life, she never comes back. Meaning? I smirked. Tyler knew exactly what that meant. I'm gonna make her regret every second of this. Back at the house, I got home faster than I expected. Maybe it was the adrenaline. Maybe it was pure spite. The second I stepped through the door, I knew she hadn't left yet. Emily was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, looking like a queen on her throne. Her suitcase sat beside her. Half empty. She hadn't even packed everything. Unbelievable. You're still here, I said flatly. She sighed like I was the difficult one. Nathan, I told you I just need time to figure things out. I stepped closer. Let me make it easy for you. Her brows furrowed. What? I pulled out my phone, scrolled through my contacts, and pressed call. Who are you? Hi, this is Officer Daniels. What's your emergency? Emily's eyes went wide. I smiled. Yeah, I need assistance removing an unwanted person from my property. Her mouth dropped open. Are you serious right now? I nodded, still smiling. Dead serious. Sir, do you feel threatened? The cop asked. I locked eyes with Emily. Not yet. She jumped off the couch. You're such a dramatic little b********h. I ignored her, speaking into the phone. She'll be gone before you get here. I hung up and pocketed my phone. Start packing. Emily gritted her teeth. You are such a petty, insecure I grabbed her suitcase and flung it toward the door. It hit the ground with a heavy thud. She gasped. What the hell is wrong with you? I took a slow step toward her. What's wrong with me? My voice was dead calm. I spent 8 years building a life with you only for you to piss all over it. What's wrong with you? Her lips curled in that same damn smirk. Oh, grow up, Nathan. I let out a breath. You're unbelievable. She laughed. Laughed. Like this was a joke. I mean, come on, she said, tilting her head. Did you really think we'd be together forever? Something inside me snapped. You're right, I said, stepping back. I was an idiot. For thinking you were worth it. For believing a single damn word you ever said. Emily opened her mouth, but I cut her off. You don't love me. You never did. She flinched. Just for a second. But it was enough. I laughed, shaking my head. Wow. I was right, wasn't I? You just liked having me around to clean up your messes. Emily scoffed. Oh, please. If you weren't so boring, maybe I wouldn't have needed someone else. A sharp, cruel insult. But it didn't hit me the way she wanted it to. Instead, it just made me done. Done with the anger. Done with the pain. Done with her. I grabbed her suitcase, yanked open the front door, and threw it outside. Emily's jaw dropped. Are you crazy? I pointed at the door. Get out. She didn't move. I took a slow step forward. Emily. Walk. Out. Now. For a moment, I thought she'd fight back. Thought she'd scream, throw things, cry. Instead, she gave me a long, hard stare. Then, finally, she sighed. Fine. She picked up her suitcase, flicked her hair over her shoulder, and walked past me like I was nothing. At the door, she hesitated. You're gonna regret this, Nathan. I smiled. Not a chance. Then, with one last glare, she stepped out. And just like that, she was gone. For the first time in months, maybe years, the house felt light. I shut the door, leaned against it, and closed my eyes. It was over. But something told me Emily wasn't done just yet. The silence in the house was deafening. For the first time in years, I was alone. No footsteps clicking down the hall, no sarcastic remarks, no passive-aggressive sighs from across the room. Just silence. I should have felt relieved. Hell, I was relieved. But underneath that relief was something darker. A burning, gnawing sensation in my chest that wouldn't let up. Anger. Not just at Emily. At myself. I let that woman treat me like a damn doormat for years. I ignored the warning signs, made excuses for her coldness, convinced myself that every little thing was just in my head. She had been cheating for 6 months. 6 months. While I was working late, trying to build something for our future, she was out rolling around in some cheap motel bed with Jason. I needed to get out of this house. I grabbed my keys and stormed out, the night air hitting my face like a slap. Where was I going? Who the hell knew? All I knew was that if I sat there drowning in my own thoughts any longer, I was going to explode. My first stop was the gas station down the road. I needed cigarettes not because I smoked, but because right now setting something on fire felt like a damn good idea. I stepped inside, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and made my way to the counter. The cashier, a bored-looking kid with acne and a hoodie 2 sizes too big, barely glanced at me. Pack of Marlboros. He rung it up without a word. I pulled out my card when suddenly my phone buzzed. I checked the screen. Emily. I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth ached. Of course, she was calling. Probably realizing she had nowhere to go. I let it ring. Then it rang again. Then a third time. The cashier handed me my receipt and I snatched the cigarettes off the counter, shoving them into my pocket as I stormed out. I got in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Then my phone buzzed again. I swiped to decline when suddenly a text popped up. Emily, Nathan, open the damn door. I left something inside. My blood ran cold. She was back. I threw the car in reverse and sped home. The showdown. I pulled into the driveway, my headlights slicing through the dark, and there she was. Emily stood on the porch, arms crossed, her foot tapping impatiently like she had the right to be annoyed. I stepped out of the car and slammed the door shut. What the hell are you doing here? She scoffed. Calm down. I left my necklace inside. I let out a breath through my nose. You came back for a necklace? It's sentimental. I let out a bitter laugh. Sentimental? Oh, that was rich? You don't get to come back here, Emily. She put a hand on her hip. Nathan, stop being a child and let me in. I took a step closer, lowering my voice. You lost the right to anything in this house the second you spread your legs for another man. Her eyes flashed with rage. You don't have to be so damn dramatic about it. That was it. That was the moment I realized there was no fixing her. No getting through to her. She wasn't remorseful. She wasn't ashamed. She was just annoyed. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my keys, and without breaking eye contact, chucked them onto the roof. Emily gasped. Are you insane? I smirked. Guess you're not getting that necklace. She screamed in frustration. You're such an a. Yeah, I'm an A****. You've made that clear. I opened my car door. Now get off my property before I call the cops again. She clenched her fists like she wanted to hit me. But instead, she let out a sharp exhale and turned on her heel, stomping down the driveway. Halfway to her car, she paused. You're gonna regret this, Nathan. I barked out a laugh. Not a chance. She got in her car, slammed the door, and peeled out of the driveway, tires screeching. I stood there for a long moment, the night settling around me. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I smiled. For the first time in a long, long time. I felt free. The aftermath. I walked inside, locked the door behind me, and collapsed onto the couch. Everything felt lighter. I pulled out my phone. Tyler had texted twice. Tyler, dude, did she leave? Tyler, if you need an alibi, I'm your guy. I chuckled and texted back. Me, she's gone. For good. 3 little dots appeared almost instantly. Tyler, good. Now let's burn her stuff. I laughed out loud. Me, tempting. I exhaled, my fingers hovering over the screen. Then I did something I should have done months ago. I blocked her number. And just like that, Emily no longer existed in my world. I leaned back, closing my eyes. Tomorrow, I'd start over. Tonight? Tonight, I was just gonna enjoy the silence. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. For the first time in a long time, there was no Emily rolling over beside me, no cold shoulder, no fake smile before she grabbed her phone and started texting, probably Jason. I sat up, rubbing my face, and let reality sink in. She was gone. And yet, even though she wasn't here, the ghost of her still lingered. In the scent of her perfume on the pillow. In the empty space in the closet where her clothes used to be. No. I wasn't going to let this place remind me of her. I got up, grabbed a trash bag, and started purging. Her makeup? In the bag. Her stupid decorative pillows? Gone. Her half-empty bottle of shampoo? Straight into the trash. It felt good. Like I was physically removing her from my life, piece by piece. Half an hour later, I stood in the middle of the living room looking around at the now Emily-free house. That's when my phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. Tyler, yo, let's get drinks tonight. You need it. I smirked. He wasn't wrong. Me, I'm in. The bar. By the time I got to the bar that night, Tyler was already there, 2 beers waiting on the table. My guy, he greeted, clapping me on the back as I sat down. How's the newly single life treating you? I exhaled, grabbing the beer. Strangely liberating. Tyler smirked. Damn right. No more dealing with that toxic mess. I took a sip, letting the cold beer wash away the last remnants of stress. Yeah, but I have a feeling she's not done causing problems. Tyler raised a brow. What do you mean? She texted me last night, I said, setting my drink down. Came back to the house looking for a necklace. Tyler snorted. Yeah, right? She was looking for drama. I nodded. That's what I thought too. Tyler leaned forward. So what did you do? I smirked. Threw my house keys on the roof and told her to get lost. Tyler burst out laughing. Dude, that's legendary. I chuckled, but deep down I had this nagging feeling that Emily wasn't done trying to screw with me. And I was right. Because just as I took another sip of my beer, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out and saw the name on the screen. Emily. I clenched my jaw. I had blocked her number. How the hell was she calling me? Tyler noticed my expression. Tell me that's not it. I flipped the phone around to show him. His eyes widened. This B******H is persistent. I ignored the call. But then, a voicemail popped up. I hesitated. Tyler frowned. Are you actually gonna listen to that? Curiosity, I muttered, tapping play. Emily's voice came through the speaker. Nathan, I hope you're happy. You threw me out like I was nothing. After everything we've been through. But you know what? I hope you enjoy your little freedom while it lasts, because you're about to find out exactly what I'm capable of. The message ended. Tyler let out a low whistle. Damn. That sounds like a threat. I exhaled slowly, shoving my phone into my pocket. Yeah. And that's what worries me. The next bombshell. I went home that night feeling uneasy. Emily was vindictive. If I knew anything about her, it was that she didn't take losing well. And I had just beaten her at her own game. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. My phone was blowing up. Texts. Missed calls. Even a few voicemails. I sat up and scrolled through my notifications. And that's when I saw the worst one. A text from my boss. Boss, we need to talk. Call me ASAP. My stomach dropped. I called immediately. He picked up after 2 rings. Nathan. Yeah, what's going on? There was a long pause. Then, we got an email. About you. I frowned. An email? An anonymous email. A cold chill ran down my spine. What did it say? I asked, already knowing the answer. My boss sighed. It accused you of being emotionally unstable. Said you had violent tendencies. That you were harassing your ex-wife. That you might not be fit for the company. I saw red. Emily. That conniving be *H***. Nathan, my boss said carefully, is any of this true? I forced myself to take a deep breath. Not a single word. Another pause. Then finally, my boss said, look, I don't believe it either. But HR is involved now. We're gonna have to investigate. My blood boiled. So, what? I could lose my job over some baseless accusation? This is standard procedure, my boss said. Just keep your head down and don't give them any reason to believe the accusations. I gritted my teeth. Understood. I hung up, rage burning through my veins. This was war. Emily had just made her biggest mistake. She thought she could ruin my life? She had no idea what was coming for her. Emily had officially crossed the line. It was one thing to cheat, to lie, to make my life hell. But trying to ruin my career? That was war. I paced the living room, my phone clenched in my hand, heart pounding with rage. She thought she could just send an anonymous email and get away with it? Not a chance. I needed a plan. Step 1, proof. First things first, I needed evidence to prove that Emily was the one behind the accusations. I grabbed my laptop and started digging. I went through old messages, emails, anything that could show a pattern of her vindictiveness. And then I remembered Tyler. I shot him a text. Me, need your help. Emily's trying to ruin my job. His reply came in seconds. Tyler, WTF? What happened? I explained everything, the anonymous email, HR getting involved, the risk of losing my job over Emily's lies. Tyler, dude. She's unhinged. Me, I need proof she sent that email. Any ideas? Tyler, actually, yeah. A second later, my phone rang. I answered. Talk to me. Tyler's voice was dead serious. Remember my cousin Mark? I frowned. The IT guy? Yep. He does cybersecurity. If anyone can trace an anonymous email, it's him. Hope sparked in my chest. You think he could track where it came from? Tyler chuckled. For the right price? Hell yeah. I grinned. Do it. Step 2, the waiting game. The next 24 hours were pure torture. I couldn't focus at work. Every time I passed HR's office, my stomach twisted into knots. I could feel people watching me, whispering. Emily's plan was working, but she had no idea what was coming. That night, Tyler called. I picked up instantly. Tell me you have something. Oh, I have everything. I sat up straight. Talk. Mark traced the email. Guess where it was sent from? I already knew the answer. Tyler laughed. Emily's IP address. Her freaking home Wi-Fi, dude. She didn't even try to hide it. Relief flooded through me. You have proof. Oh, I've got receipts. The email was sent from her laptop at 11:47 p.m. right after she stormed out of your house. I smirked. Gotcha, you cheating, lying be *****H. Step 3, the kill shot. The next morning, I walked into my boss's office with a folder of evidence. He raised an eyebrow. Nathan. I sat down, placing the folder on his desk. I know who sent that email. He leaned forward, intrigued. Go on. I flipped open the folder, revealing screenshots, IP traces, and timestamps. My ex-wife, Emily. She fabricated the entire thing. My boss scanned the documents. His jaw tightened. This is solid proof. He looked up. You sure you want to press this? I met his eyes. Damn right I do. He exhaled. All right. I'll take this to HR. I nodded. And one more thing. What? I want a restraining order. The final blow. 2 days later, I got the call. Boss, HR cleared you. You're good to go. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. And Emily? She's in trouble. This kind of false accusation isn't something we take lightly. She might face legal consequences. Perfect. But I wasn't done. That evening, I walked into the courthouse, filed for a restraining order, and officially made it illegal for Emily to come near me again. The last goodbye. The next morning, I got one last text from Emily. Emily, you think you won? You're nothing without me. I stared at the message for a long moment. Then, without a second thought, I blocked her. And just like that, Emily ceased to exist in my world. I stepped outside, breathing in the fresh air, feeling lighter than I had in years. For the first time in a long time, I was finally free. Emily was gone. Not just from my house. Not just from my phone. But from my life. And damn, it felt good. The restraining order was in place, HR had cleared my name, and Emily had no power over me anymore. For the first time in years, I could finally breathe. But even with all that, something still felt unfinished. Like there was one last thing I needed to do before I could truly move on. The last loose end. Tyler and I were at the bar, celebrating my official return to sanity when he leaned in. Dude, he said, swirling his beer. Aren't you curious? I raised an eyebrow. About what? About Jason. The dude she was cheating with. I exhaled, shaking my head. Not really. She's his problem now. Tyler smirked. Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice to wreck his world a little? I took a sip of my drink, thinking about it. Emily had tried to destroy me. She had lied, cheated, manipulated. And Jason? He was just as guilty. Maybe it was petty. Maybe it was pointless. But I wanted closure. Step 1. Finding Jason. It wasn't hard. Emily had never been great at hiding things. And since I already knew his full name, a quick social media search pulled up everything I needed. Jason Carter. Recent photos. His workplace. His fiancée. Oh, this just got interesting. Step 2, the bombshell. Jason wasn't just some random fling. He was engaged. And his poor, clueless fiancée had no idea he had been rolling around with my wife behind her back. That didn't sit right with me. I sat there, staring at his fiancée's profile, debating whether to do it. And then, before I could overthink it, I typed the message. Hey, I know this is out of nowhere, but I thought you should know. Your fiancé, Jason, was sleeping with my wife while we were married. I found out when we got into a car accident together. I have proof. If you want it, let me know. I hovered over the send button. Then I hit send. Tyler leaned over. Dude, you actually did it? I exhaled. Yeah. He grinned. I respect the hell out of that. Step 3, the fallout. I didn't expect a response right away. But 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Jason's fiancé, please tell me this is a joke. I sighed. Me, I wish it was. Do you want proof? Another buzz. Jason's fiancé, yes. Send me everything. I didn't hold back. Screenshots. Text logs. Even a picture of Emily and Jason together that I had found buried in my old phone. The second I sent it, I got one last reply. Jason's fiancé, thank you for telling me. He's going to regret this. I smiled. Mission accomplished. The final goodbye. A week later, I got one last piece of poetic justice. Jason's fiancé left him. Publicly. She exposed him on social media, called off the engagement, and made sure everyone knew what kind of man he was. As for Emily, rumors started circulating that she and Jason had a massive falling out. Apparently, once Emily realized Jason wasn't going to leave his fiancé for her, she turned on him. Cheaters cheating on cheaters. Couldn't have happened to two more deserving people. The fresh start. With all of that behind me, I focused on rebuilding. I went back to the gym. Reconnected with old friends. Started dating again. And you know what? I was happier. I had wasted years on a woman who never deserved me. But now I had my freedom. And I wasn't about to waste another second of it.